This is a channel about role-playing games. And so, it's pretty easy to be positive about most of the things that we talk about. I enjoy pretty much every aspect of role-playing games. I like finding new games, I like reading them, I like learning how to play them, I like actually playing them, I like evaluating how successful that play was, I like discussing the reading, the learning, the playing, and the evaluations with other like-minded gamers. People who seek out new games, read them, learn them, play them, share them. It's easy to be positive, and it's getting easier, right? There are more ways to connect with people, more ways to share with people. It's all positive. And yet, over the last couple of years, there has been a growing sense of dissatisfaction. Although our hobby's on the rise, although the support material that enables us to participate in our hobby with people all over the world, although that is growing, something is failing us. And it's a two-part thing. We could, if we were the sort to lay blame, we could point fingers at the producers of our role-playing games. And if we chose to be honest, we could point that finger at ourselves. And that's what this video is about. What is the source of dissatisfaction and what can be done about it? Ultimately, when you strip everything else away, just something that I'm fond of doing, when you strip everything else away, what a role-playing game is text. A role-playing game can be enhanced, sometimes greatly, by art. Its presentation can be enhanced by layout or by format, right? Full gloss pages, hard covers, ring bound, spiral bound, right? PDF. But the thing that remains the same, the thing that is constant, the thing without which the game does not exist, is the text. From the designer's initial scrawled notes about how to explain the game to someone else, to the final version that lands on shelves and tables. The text is where the game lives. Around our tables and in our imaginations is where it gains, or where it demonstrates its spark of inspiration, where we can say it comes to life, or it springs to life, but it doesn't exist without the text. And it's in this area, the area of text, where people like me, and not just people like me, not just people who seek out new games, read them, learn to play them, actually play them, and then share that experience. Not just people like me, but people who play just for fun, right? People who play once or twice a year with old friends, people who have been running the same campaign for 30 years using the same game materials, and so have them like committed to memory. Even among these people is this sense that something isn't right. We have reached a period in the hobby where it is possible for that industry to support producing luxury editions of games. But when you open them up and read them, it can feel like you are the first person on earth who has actually read that text. That why didn't someone edit this? Why weren't there proofreaders involved after the editor was finished? What kind of check was done before printing that allows some of these errors or mistakes to get through? And if any part of that preceding process description mystifies you, let's explain briefly. Editors and proofreaders do two different jobs. The editor is there to take the overview of all the text that's being produced and make sure it conforms to what the project is actually trying to do. This is not something that the writer can do. And a proofer is there to simply read the text once it's been assembled and identify places where there are problems in it, readability problems or typographical mistakes. In the grand sense, the editor is looking for errors, things that were put in place that shouldn't be put in place because some part of the process, some person involved in the process, didn't have sufficient information, right? They made an error. And the proofers are in place to catch mistakes, things that happened because of random chance, bad luck, cold fingers, who knows what else. But we have the process of creating the text, which is a very difficult process that shouldn't be undersold as just writing. But then we have the process of assembling the text, evaluating the text, and making sure that the text is coherent and at all levels of production is reaching for its goal. And then we have another group of people who is making sure that those eyes who have been reading and rereading and rereading and rereading this text over and over and over again haven't become blind to what it actually says. Fresh eyes who are coming to it for the first time without previous knowledge, without having seen the text before, who can spot the typing mistakes, who can spot the confused approach to explaining an idea, who can spot the inconsistencies, who can say, this example doesn't have anything to do with the rules text before it, or the tone in the first part of the book is telling me to do this, but the instructions later in the book are telling me to do something completely different. The tone, it doesn't match, right? Or saying, because this instruction has been separated from the second half of its instruction by 100 pages of other stuff, it makes it very difficult to learn. It makes it very difficult to access, etc., etc. The experience of using the book, they can report that. And then changes should be made if that experience of using the book is problematic. In this day and age where we can support luxury materials, we, the consumer, deserve a luxury treatment of the text. Just because it's pretty doesn't mean we should excuse the fact that the main reason we bought it, its text, is flawed. To put that in context, imagine that you're going out to buy milk. And you go to the milk store and you look at all the varieties of milk on display, and you're going there to get a particular type of milk. You're not a whole milk person, you're not a skim milk person, you're somewhere in between. So you're looking for a very specific flavor of milk. And as you're in the milk aisle and you find the classification of milk that you're looking for, you spot milk that has the most incredible container. You go, wow, look at that container. That's a mighty fine container. Let's get that one. I haven't seen a milk container look that good. It just makes me want to drink milk. So you snatch it up, you rush home, you show your family, say, look at this container, this is amazing. You put it in the fridge and you close the door. What is this symbolic of? This is symbolic of the typical role-playing game purchase, right? Attracted by the cover, put on the shelf, neither read nor played. In an environment where we, the consumer, are providing that common ground, right? We don't actually read it. We just put it on the shelf. Of course, they'll focus more on finding great cover art and worry less about the text. We don't read it, we don't know it's bad. So let's continue our example a little further. let's say after a little while, you notice that there are even cooler versions of the container out there, so you buy them. And you open up the fridge and you are reminded of the first container of milk, and you go, oh, you know, that's still cool. It still makes me want to drink milk. So you open it up and you discover it's not milk, it's water. All right, we do need to talk about specifics, but I don't mean to point a finger at specific printers saying this game sucks and that game's awesome and that kind of stuff. And I'm not able to point a finger at all the consumers out there. But the specifics I'm talking about are the lack of consequences. What we have is a situation where, because of our habits as consumers, we're basically saying, through our silence, and I'm complicit in this as well, and this is an end of my willingness to be complicit in this process. As consumers, our silence says, it's okay. This is good enough for me. Now think about that for a minute. And think about my example with the milk. It's good enough. I don't deserve any better than this. You don't have to give me a quality product. I'm satisfied if it just looks okay. It means you're agreeing that you're going to buy it and probably not play it. Which means, why not buy the next edition and probably not play it either? Is that who we are as role-playing gamers? Do we want to send a signal to publishers that we will buy what they produce in the hope of one day playing it? But until that day rolls around, we're not even going to read it, and so therefore it doesn't really matter what the text is like. Are we saying that we want a book that looks pretty when we open it, so it should have great layout, even if that layout makes it difficult to use as a reference, makes it difficult to learn the game, makes it even difficult to read because of pictures behind the text or other things which have varying effects on varying readers? Is beauty more important than legibility? Is page count more important than coherence and efficiency of skillful technical writing to communicate the procedures of play and of whatever adjunct writing is needed to inspire the communication of the artistic ideas behind play? What are the consequences for providing us with low quality text? If we are silent, there are no consequences. If we continue to buy edition after edition after edition, there are no consequences. If we do not hold them responsible for producing low quality text, whoever they are, from the lowest indie producer up to the largest luxury producer, then we're saying it's okay. I don't deserve any better. And I don't agree. I think we do deserve better. And I think this grows more and more true the higher up the cost ladder we go. If you're trying to sell a product, especially one that is a version of another product, a luxury new edition, or just a luxury version of a totally new product, and yet you've, gilded this imperfect thing with flash, or you've paired a legitimately fun, exciting, cool system with text which makes it hard to appreciate and understand, I'm at a loss for words as to what that's all about. The product is the text. The rest of it does not exist. The rest of it cannot be held together without the text. The text is the product. The text must shine. It must be well written, which is not easy. It must be, especially in the larger projects, be guided by an editor with a full view of the entire project. And it must then, at the end, be proofed by skilled proofers with fresh eyes to look at readability and to find those mistakes which creep in, which the producers can no longer see because they are the producers. They have lived too closely to the text. What they see is what they think they are saying. The proofer's job is to tell them what they actually said, and those proofers must be respected so that the text can be fixed for all those other first reads that are coming. As consumers, we need to do more than just buy and put on shelves. We need to open up the milk and drink it.